Hey, Taylor Ellwood here, and welcome to the latest episode of Behind the Scenes. It's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, and there's some good reasons for it. I mean, I've had some life changes I've been busy dealing with. My dad's funeral, finding out that I'm, having to make some last minute adjustments because I need to go out and visit my mom and help her take care of some stuff. Certainly has been part of it. But a lot of it also has been, quite honestly, I've just been a bit scattered um, of late, and I've really had to reflect on that and figure out how to do something that I call, you know, getting rid of the trivial many in order to focus on the essential few. This is something I'll talk about more as time goes on, but I'll just to sum it up briefly. We sometimes get distracted by the trivial many, by the all the different things we could do, and we forget as a result the importance of focusing on the um, the essential few. The things that need to be done and that advance what it is that you need to be doing. I actually think of this video series as part of my essential few when it comes to supporting my fiction and talking about my fiction, and I haven't really focused on it um, because I've kind of needed some time to figure some of this stuff out. It's interesting, I am in a very real sense building out a new business of sorts with my fiction writing. I've written nonfiction for a long time, and I know how to do that. And I've got this great, amazing community built around that. And right now, I'm starting from scratch in a very real sense. I don't even have a book out yet on the fiction side of things because stuff's still going on. I'm going to have an update about that too. But I'm very much aware of the fact that I need to build a community, but I've been stuck around that, and part of why I've been stuck has just been a combination of focusing on other things um, in my life, but also not really knowing, not really being entirely 100% sure, how am I going to go about doing this? I'm starting to get some better ideas, and so I want I want to reassure you that you're going to see more. One of the things that I've decided to do is start doing these videos once a week, each week on Tuesdays at 6:30 in the evening. That may change. The time may change at some point, but right now that's the time I've got, so that's the time I'm going to work with. Um, but yeah, that's one of the things that's going to change is I'm going to start doing these videos every week, just like I do with my other with my nonfiction. I do a video every Thursday for that. I'm going to start doing a video every Tuesday. So there's that. And I think I'm going to start working on just writing some more fiction on the website, or at least writing something along those lines on the website. I'm not entirely 100% sure on that one yet, but I'll figure it out. I am working on something right now, but really it all comes right down to doing the essential few instead of the trivial many. And so anything I do, I have to look at it in that context of, is this helping me focus on the essential few? The essential few in this case is, am I focused on actually, writing my fiction and getting it out there and doing something meaningful with it? I want to let you know I actually am. Tomorrow, my writers group is meeting, and they are going to be looking over the last few chapters of learning how to fly. My writers group is my beta readers, basically, as I mentioned before. And so my hope is that as a result of that, I'm going to be able to push ahead with learning how to fly and get the last few chapters over to my editor, so that way she can get things wrapped up on her end. And ideally, learning how to fly will actually be out this August/September. I'm hopeful for that. But of course, you when you're writing something like fiction, when you're writing anything, you want to take your time and get it right. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to be a perfectionist, and we'll talk about that sometime too. Not today, but we will talk about it. But you do want to make sure you get it right. And so for me, I've had to, I was originally going to push learning how to fly season 1 out, and then I did some research and I realized that in terms of being able to launch book, that going about it the way that I was going to initially do it was not a good idea. And so I really rethought it, and I'm like, okay, I need to, I went back to the drawing board and figured out that I really needed the book to be a bit longer, and that it was really important that I spend that time getting everything fully fleshed out for a full length book. And so that's what I ended up doing. And, it's pretty much there. But again, just kind of waiting on a few key pieces that, I'm not fully in control of. It's just kind of the nature of things that, when you're a writer, you really do have to rely upon other people to a certain to some degree or another. I mean, you know, I'm certainly not going to edit my own work, because if I do, there's things I'm going to miss. So for example, that, and then of course the cover art and all that other stuff. So, it's why learning how to fly has been taking some time. On the other end of things, I am, working on the Zombie Apocalypse Call Center, and I just finished up chapter 18 today. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I've started work on chapter 19. This is kind of the premise of the story is basically this call center that is supposed to help people survive the zombie apocalypse when it occurs. Of course, there's a lot more going on than just that, but that's the basic premise for you. So I'm really excited about that book, because I feel like it's starting to come toward a potential ending. We'll see. Regardless, I'm writing it. I'm not going to make any promises on that being out this year. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be out next year. But the fact of the matter is, I'm writing it and working on it. So that's really cool. So anyway, that's kind of the initial business. I wanted to give you an update on my fiction and where things are, and why things are taking so long in some ways. But I also wanted to talk a bit about the future of this series. Like I said, this is going to be happening every week. I'm going to be starting to explore some other things too, because I really want to connect with you, my audience, in terms of fiction. And again, I realize there isn't a lot out there that I've shared right now, but if you go to my website, you will see, I've shared part of an ongoing serial that I'm writing for my newsletter. And then also there is the free story, The Deadly Mental Waves of Flowers. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. The other thing that I want to talk about is, how do you go about choosing the right writers group? I had shared in the last video, the benefits of belonging to a writers group. And this time I want to talk about how you choose the right one, because not all writer groups are equal. And I think it really kind of depends on what you're looking for in a writers group. For me, when I decided to rejoin a writers group after many umpteenth years, I kind of compared the previous experience that I had had with what I really wanted to do. My previous experience with the writers group was a good one. We mainly just focused on the writing, though. We focused on, we're going to focus on the writing and helping each other improve each other's writing. And that's generally what a writers group is for. But I think it's also worthwhile to sometimes treat your writers group as a business mastermind for your writing as well. And in the current group that I'm part of, all of us have this stated goal of, we want to publish our books. We want to make money with our books. And so we don't always just focus on the writing. Sometimes what we focus on is, what are the activities that we're doing to, create a business around this? What are the things that we should be thinking about when we're launching books? What are the activities that are essential to helping us become successful as writers, successfully published writers? And I think that this is a key thing that you want to look at in your own writers group. What's the goal of your writers group? What is your goal? Are those goals concurrent? Do they mesh together? And keep in mind that you could belong to a writers group where the goal is just to improve your writing and still be very much, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. But your own goal could be, I want to improve my writing and I want to get published. And if your goal is that you want to get published, then you also want to really find some people who are focused on that, and be able to talk with them about what they're doing and what you're doing. Because when you create that kind of networked connection, it helps you become better at figuring out not just the writing end of things, but also the publishing / business end of things. And I can tell you that, if you want to be a successful writer, you need to understand that end of things, whether you're having an agent represent you and you get published by a mainstream publisher, or whether you go full indie. You still want to know that thing. You especially need to know it if you're full indie. But I really think that even someone who is just writing, with the hopes that someone's going to pick up their book and all that stuff, they still need to know some of these business skills, because you need to really employ them. Publishers anymore don't just look for a great book, they look for people who are going to actually support the book and make it a reality. And this is something I think that a lot of writers don't realize in my experience. They think, oh, I published the book. Now the publisher's going to do all the heavy lifting. And it's like, no, the publisher will help out. They'll edit the book. They'll do the layout. They'll help with some of the distribution and marketing, but they're still going to expect you to do some of that work too. So even in traditional publishing, that's kind of the expectation. And not only that, but there's also the expectation of, connecting with your audience and finding out who they are and what they want. I mean, right now I'm doing that. I'm sharing some things with you. I'm kind of sharing where I'm at and what I'm working on, and kind of things along those lines. I am, with this series, I am going to be taking a bit of a shift, because I am going to be talking more about my writing and like kind of what's going on behind the scenes with the writing itself. And that's part of what's kind of taken me a little while to get my head wrapped around this. I find, like with anything, you can have a series of false starts. You start out and you do something, and then you realize, okay, this isn't quite working the way I wanted to. What's not working? And in my case, I realized that, I want to do these episodes, but I don't really want it to be entirely about the business of writing. I want it to be more about like what I'm writing about and what the thought process is going into this stuff and things along those lines. And I'm still going to be talking about some of this business stuff, because it's important too. But it's my audience isn't other writers. My audience is really ideally people who want to read my fiction, and so I've got to think about that. At the same time, I promised this video about choosing the right writers group, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna include that, and I am gonna sometimes talk about writing stuff and stuff, because it's important. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of my video for today, and I will be back next week, and you'll be seeing me do this stuff pretty much every week. There's going to be a week at the end of July where I'm not, because probably not going to, because I'm going to be out visiting my mom, and I kind of need to focus on, helping her out with stuff. But other than that, it's going to be pretty much steady and regular. So just plan for that and know that. And I hope to get to know some of you as time goes on here. And thank you for watching. Take care and have a great day.